I woke up to find I'd transmigrated into the body of a rich young lady with stunning looks. Her biggest flaw? She was at the very bottom of the class academically and was pathetically infatuated with the male lead, the star student. How ridiculous. Before I transmigrated, I'd been the top scorer in the state STEM track, with an almost perfect SAT score. The moment I landed in this body, the math teacher was berating me here, she'd gotten an F on the math quiz. Even with my eyes closed, I'd do better than you. What's the point of being rich if your brain's this useless? And you still shamelessly chase after Lucas Johnson. He'd have to be blind to notice you. Spit sprayed across my face. Clearly this girl had been under so much pressure her mind cracked, giving me the opening to slip in. Looking at the rows of numbers and formulas on the blackboard, memories of my own college entrance exams came flooding back. Insult me all you want, but don't touch my IQ. This is my home turf. First question, C. Second question, 436. Third question's written wrong, no solution. I said it aloud. The math teacher froze, staring at me. Then he slowly turned to Lucas Johnson. Lucas Johnson, give me your assessment of Sophia Evelyn's answers. Lucas stood up, fiddled with his pen for a moment, and then looked up at the teacher. She's right. The third question is missing a condition, so it can't be solved. The teacher's eyes went wide. He waved at me hastily. Ahem, very good. Sit down. Try to learn more from Lucas in the future. Ha! Lucas still had to work it out, while I did it in my head. Who should be learning from whom? But I didn't bother arguing. I just realized, my seat was right in front of Lucas. Obviously the original Sophia had used her wealthy father's pull to get this seat. Whatever, not my concern. I sat down, though I could feel someone's gaze locked on me from behind. After class, a crowd of girls swarmed around Lucas's desk to ask him questions. I wasn't surprised, I'd read this novel already. In the original, both the heroine Charlotte Johansson and the side character Sophia Evelyn had received tutoring from Lucas. Charlotte, who came from an ordinary family and had average grades, climbed into the top 20 of the class with his help and even earned a scholarship. Sophia, on the other hand, wasn't actually bright at all. Tutoring was just her excuse to get close to the male lead. While Lucas patiently explained, she only gazed at his handsome face and absorbed nothing. Her grades slipped even further, and eventually Lucas got so fed up he stopped speaking to her. When I'd read the novel, I hadn't liked Lucas much. He was written as a cold, aloof academic genius who seemed indifferent to everyone, even the heroine Charlotte. I used to be a top student and didn't look bad growing up either, yet no boys chased me. What a double standard. The only thing Lucas and I had in common was that after class, we were both surrounded by classmates asking for help. Sometimes my solutions were simpler than the teachers, so people came to me even more. Now, hearing voices behind me. How do you do this one? Can you check this for me? I reflexively turned my head. Sophia, what do you want to ask? Didn't Lucas say he wouldn't tutor you anymore? A cute-looking girl shot me a glance. Whoa, I hadn't said a word yet and Lucas was already raising an eyebrow at me, like he was waiting for me to beg him for help. I was about to speak when a short-haired girl suddenly jumped in, scolding the first one. What are you talking about? Did Lucas say anything? Who gave you the right to butt in? Oh right, Sophia Evelyn had two best friends, one named Luna and the other Mia. All three had terrible grades and spent their days on beauty, shopping, and idol chasing. Now that Sophia was being mocked, Luna stood up for her. I patted Luna's shoulder, signaling her to calm down. Me, need tutoring? Finding someone to teach me college entrance exam questions would take forever. I picked up the flirty girl's test paper, glanced at it, multiple choice answers C, D, C, B. You messed up because you copied a number wrong. Next time don't bother Lucas with silly mistakes like this. I tossed the paper back. Luna stared wide-eyed. Only Charlotte was left. She'd been tutored by Lucas. Her wrong answers were at least on genuinely hard questions, not careless mistakes. I actually liked the heroine. Putting my arm around Charlotte's shoulders, I said seriously. Study with me. From now on, ask me if you don't understand. Forget top 20, I can get you into the top 10. Sophia, what are you up to now? Lucas finally spoke. He still looked calm, his tone detached as usual, but there was a flicker of surprise in his eyes. He probably couldn't believe the class dunce had suddenly turned smart. Humph, keep underestimating me. Tell you what, Lucas, I smirked, let's bet on who scores higher on the midterms. If you win, I'll stop bothering you. If I win, maybe you should call me Mom. You have to be Sophia's boyfriend. Before I could finish, Luna blurted out. Hey! I glared at her. Are you my best friend or my enemy? She stuck her tongue out at me as if to say, you won't win anyway, dream on. With your bad luck, only if Newton or Einstein reincarnated into you could you beat him. Easy to get high marks, huh? Damn, I wanted to knock her on the head. Damn again, Lucas agreed. His face said, great, finally I'll be free of this nuisance. This nuisance, who only wanted to be called Mom, grudgingly accepted the bet. Fine, once I win I'll dump him first. As soon as I stepped out of class, the maid was waiting at the door. She held my school bag and asked respectfully. Miss, the limited edition Ferrari is still in maintenance. Today we're sending the extended Rolls-Royce to take you home. Is that acceptable? Yes, of course. My heart leapt with joy. After all, I hadn't had the chance to see this kind of luxury up close. Forget Ferraris, I'd settle for a car with wheels. Every day a different supercar picks me up, and after chasing Lucas so long he still doesn't spare me a glance. The murmurs and gossip behind me were noisy as ever. I could tell from the voices they were Lucas's fangirls A, B, and C. I ignored them and walked straight to the luxury car waiting at the school gate. The chauffeur, wearing black gloves, stood by the car door. Miss Sophia, congratulations on finishing class. He said as he opened the door for me. Right then, the heroine and her best friend happened to walk past. Her friend clearly couldn't hold back her irritation at seeing me being pampered and muttered a jab. Wow, even your school bag has someone to carry it. Must be nice being rich. I'd never been one to let insults slide. I put a hand on my hip, ready to snap back, only for the maid beside me to speak first. Oh no, Mr. Evelyn pays me $5,000 a month. Carrying a bag like this is a pleasure. My eyes went round, my mouth dropped open. Charlotte and her friend both stared blankly. My dad is amazing. He single-handedly raises the national average wage for domestic help. I cleared my throat twice, quietly reading the maid's name badge, Alice. Good job, Alice. I like you. Keep it up and I'll ask Dad to give you a raise. I'd known Sophia was rich, but I hadn't realized she was this rich. Her house on the outskirts of the city was a breathtaking villa with a garden, swimming pool, and a vast forest behind it, straight out of an aristocratic drama. Even more impressive, her parents were loving and harmonious. None of those absurd real versus fake daughter plots here. I couldn't help sighing. Why on earth had Sophia been so obsessed with chasing the male lead? If you want to look at handsome guys, just spend money on your favorite idols. Aren't idols good-looking too? A poised, elegant woman stepped out. As soon as she saw me, she smiled warmly. Sophia, you're home. Your father's in the study. This had to be my mom. I rushed into her arms, shouting, Mom! She froze for a moment, then hugged me tightly. What's gotten into you today? It's been ages since you hugged me like this. I laughed softly. I just missed you, that's all. I went up to my private room and flopped around on the enormous bed, at least 3 meters across. Before I could enjoy it fully, the door swung open. A middle-aged man with black-rimmed glasses walked in. Thinking fast, I addressed him cautiously. Dad. He nodded and sat on the edge of the bed, his expression serious. Sophia, did something happen today to make you sad? I'm a bit confused. Your mom said you looked upset when you got home. Was your test result bad again? Don't worry. If you can't keep up here, I'll send you abroad and just buy you a diploma. You'll never have to work anyway, I can support you for life. That's no good, Dad. I feel like I'm studying much better now. He looked at me skeptically. Ah, is it because of that boy Lucas in your class? I really don't understand you, why? There are countless flowers in the world, why pine for one that doesn't belong to you? There are plenty of handsome young men these days. You should keep your options open. With that, he handed me a stack of photos. Curious, I flipped through them, all handsome guys my age. Sitting beside me, he eagerly introduced each one, name, family, school. He'd clearly gone to great lengths to help me forget Lucas. Feeling moved, I picked the most handsome photo and held it up. Dad, who's this? Oh, that's the new idol the talent agency just debuted. I know his father. Do you like him? I'll get his phone number for you. I'd only asked out of curiosity, but Dad immediately grew serious and jotted it into his phone's notes. Finally he stood, rubbing his round belly, a satisfied look on his face. Sophia, at last you're getting over that Lucas boy. From now on I'll add $5,000 to your allowance each month as a reward. $5,000? I can't believe it, I'm rich. Thanks to Face ID I'd logged into my bank account on my phone, $30,000 a month already, plus Dad's new $5,000 bonus. In other words, without lifting a finger I'd be a true heiress with $35,000 a month. Life was so beautiful, how could it be this good? I lay back, sinking into the luxurious bed. In my mind's eye, rows of designer goods sparkled, beckoning, "Miss, by us." I patted my cheeks twice, trying to stay calm. Spending money was great, but using money to make more money was even better. The phone rang. Luna's voice blasted through the speaker. Sophia, where are you? Listen, my mom just hired a tutor from the capital for me. She says he's a former member of the National Exam Question Writing Committee. Come study with me. If it weren't for your silly bet with Lucas I wouldn't even bother. In truth, my proudest achievement was solving the final math problem on the college entrance exam, a feat that turned me into a legend at my high school. After the test, my math teacher even asked me to come back regularly to help younger students. When I went to college, I laughed. Luna, don't trust those old folks. They've been off the battlefield too long, they don't know the latest exam trends. Don't talk nonsense. My mom says she paid a fortune for this tutor. Her voice was nearly a shout. An idea flashed in my mind. I paused. How much did she pay? The next morning, Alice knocked on my door gently. Miss, breakfast is ready. After eating we'll go to school. I opened the door and handed her my bag. Thanks, Alice. Sorry to trouble you. You're not sleeping in today, miss? She looked at me in surprise. I've decided to change. From now on I'll study hard. Down in the dining room, my parents sat at the table. The spread was exquisite and mouth-watering. I swallowed and obediently took a seat. I heard Luna's family hired a famous tutor for her. My mom suddenly said to Dad. From reading the novel, I knew my mom didn't work but was famous in high society. She knew which socialite had bought which limited edition bag, which CEO was juggling how many mistresses. She knew everything. Luna's mom hired a tutor yesterday. My mom heard about it today. Dad looked up from his newspaper. We can't let Sophia fall behind. We should hire a tutor for her too. I was spreading salted egg yolk sauce on my sandwich when I heard them mention me, my ears instantly perking up. Of course. Luna's level is about the same as Sophia's. We can't let Sophia fall behind just because the Lawrences hired a tutor. Alright, I'll look for some famous tutors myself so we can hire one for her too. Preferably someone who can solve questions for her or something like that. Just as I suspected, she really was my biological mother. She even knew that the only way for me to get ahead was to have someone else work out the questions for me. My father nodded and jotted it down in the Notes app on his phone. While talking to Luna on the phone earlier, she reminded me of something. These private tutors are crazy expensive. What if I hired all those high-priced teachers into my own company? I'd be minting money. A bright future in the education industry flashed before my eyes. I casually asked, "Dad, how many companies do you own?" My dad started counting on his fingers. 1, 2, 3, probably a dozen or so. Why? I gave him a sly smile. "Dad, could you help me set up a company?" For someone like me who dreams of working in education, that tutoring industry was absolutely perfect. The thought was like a seed dropped into my heart. It sprouted, shot up, and bloomed instantly. Nothing could stop it. By the time I'd finished daydreaming, I stepped out of the back seat of our Rolls-Royce and walked toward the school building wearing a goofy grin, as if I were about to get rich. But to some of Lucas's fangirls, my expression clearly looked like I was provoking him. In a school full of rich kids like this, rumors spread at lightning speed. Yesterday, I'd made a bet with Lucas. Today, practically the whole school knew. Some students were even crowding around our classroom door to watch. As I reached the doorway, I ran into Luna. She was yelling at the top of her lungs. "Move out of the way. Stop blocking the entrance and making people late." Since when did Luna become so bold? I grabbed her hand and squeezed past the crowd into the classroom, saying, "Luna, ignore them. Some people are born blind and still haven't seen the world. If they want to stare, let them stare. We're the good ones here." Lucas was sitting at his desk, looking calm, a textbook open and pen in hand, apparently working on math problems. I suddenly noticed how elegant his fingers were. He must have sensed me staring, because he lifted his head and said coolly, "Sophia, there's only 1 month left until midterms. If you want to beat me within a month, you'll have to give it everything you've got." I frowned. "Is that a declaration of war?" He didn't reply, just glanced at the desk behind me. I followed his gaze and saw my history test lying there. First period was history with our homeroom teacher. It was last week's quiz, and the history class rep had just handed it back to me. I sighed, a C grade. For every big question I'd scribbled maybe 2 extra characters, plus whatever sympathy points the teacher gave. No wonder I scored this low. And no wonder Lucas had made that remark. If I were him, I'd have turned on my mock mode too. The bell cut off my thoughts. Our history teacher, a woman in her 50s who looked very experienced, strode in and threw her textbook and teaching materials on the podium. She said loudly, "My dear students, you've all received your tests back. This exam wasn't difficult, yet you've disappointed me terribly. Some of you performed much worse than usual, especially one who only got a C." Several people glanced at me. Ahem, I ducked behind my history book. Our homeroom teacher paused right on cue, and together with the rest of the class stared at me as though judging a criminal. Then she went on. "Really awful. You all need to study properly. Do you think you're Hitler, just because you like to invade? Napoleon has plenty of famous quotes, but that doesn't mean you can make them up as you please." I flipped open my history paper in shock. Sure enough, the side character had written a line. Napoleon once said, "As long as you work hard, the people next to you will have to look up at you more." With nonsense like that, no wonder Lucas behind me was looking down on me. I know some of you take Lucas as a role model and even secretly challenge him to bets. Competition is good, but based on your current study habits, I don't believe anyone in this class can surpass Lucas's scores. If you really care about learning, focus on preparing for next week's monthly exam first. After her long lecture, our homeroom teacher finally started going over the answers. But I'd noticed something else. I nudged my desk mate, she's the quiet type, and whispered, "There's a monthly exam next week?" "Of course. Once a month, rankings for the entire grade. Did you forget again?" As soon as class ended, I rushed to find Luna, then went next door to grab Mia. The 3 of us headed to the school's rooftop cafe. No sooner had we sat down than I declared, "This monthly exam, I'm going to teach Lucas a lesson." Luna and Mia looked at each other, then in unison. "Sophia, what are you talking about? You remember the monthly exam, right?" I calmly sipped my cappuccino. "How could we forget?" Mia, always sleepy-looking, yawned lazily. "Last time you ranked 1,253, Lawrence was 1,106. And I did a bit better, 996. The first time I broke into the top 1000, my dad even threw a party for me. I held a candle, and you call that an average score? Why not? Out of 1,260 students, minus the 3 who had stomachaches, you still have room to drop. Don't worry, Mia patted my shoulder. I realized she was being a little sarcastic. No. I'm not talking about the last monthly exam. I mean the next one. I brushed off Mia's hand and looked at them seriously. I want Lucas to fall from first place, maybe even out of the top 10. Luna and Mia's eyes widened. After a long pause, Luna exclaimed, Sophia, don't tell me you're planning something illegal. My family works in media, Mia's family is in real estate, we're respectable people, we don't do crime. In an instant they'd scripted out a whole drama in their heads, spurned by the male idol, so she turns vindictive and plots to destroy him. No. Then I slowly explained. I'm going to organize a review session before the monthly exam, mainly covering key points and predicting questions. I hope you too can help me recruit some students to attend. At first the tuition can be cheap, even free. Once everyone sees it works, I'll raise the price. My 2 best friends stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Luna asked, Who's teaching? My family just hired a tutor. Mia was quicker on the uptake and snorted. Sophia, have you been rejected by Lucas so many times you've gone crazy? Who would come listen to lessons from the bottom-ranked student? I gnawed on my fingernail, thinking. With Sophia's past lousy grades, trying to run a class like this was bound to look ridiculous. But precisely because it was so absurd and unbelievable, it would definitely create a buzz around school. Rumors always have a ripple effect. Once word spread, there'd be no shortage of students coming just to watch the show. And once they came, I'd find a way to keep them. Hey, don't worry about the details yet. You two just need to think about how to spread the news for me. Sophia and her 2 best friends might not be academic stars, but their social circles were wide. Plus, the information, Sophia is opening a review class before the monthly exam to try to beat Lucas, was just too juicy. The moment it got out, people immediately started asking if it was true. I gave Luna the job of building buzz and making a participant list. I gave Mia the task of setting the time and finding a venue. After all, one girl's family was in media, the others in real estate. For them, these things were child's play, and good experience for their future in the family business. The special pre-exam review session didn't need to run long, just 3 days before the test. Mia used a club activity excuse to get permission from the academic office to use a classroom at night. After school I carried my bag to the borrowed classroom. Half the desks were already filled, about 50 or 60 students, more than I'd expected. Every one of them wore an expression that said, "We're here for the spectacle." I took the sign-up list from Luna, scanned it, and asked, "What's the level of the students here today?" Luna pointed with her pen. "Here, 55 sign-ups total. 50 students ranked below 1,000, 4 in the 900s. And the other one? That kid had stomach problems during the last monthly exam. Don't worry, his score isn't much higher than yours." Fair enough. The real top students were at home studying, they wouldn't waste time on an event like this. I scratched my head. The pressure was heavy. To pick someone from this crowd and have them surpass Lucas in 3 days? The odds were microscopic. The students below probably saw my hesitation and assumed I had nothing to say. They'd come to joke around, but now the whispers began. Didn't Sophia say she'd tutor us? Why isn't she talking? Don't make us end up bottom-ranked like you. I threw my bag onto the desk and shouted. Fine. If you're here to learn, then I expect you to take it seriously. How many days until the monthly exam? 3 days, someone answered. And midterms? This time they had to count on their fingers. 32 days. Right. 91 days until finals. 256 days until the college entrance exam. For some of you, that might seem like a long time. But for us, it's actually very short. The students frowned at me, probably wondering what on earth Sophia was talking about. I raised my voice. I know most of your families are wealthy. Even if you don't get into a good college, you'll still have a way out. But do you really want to rely on your parents forever? Think about it, do you want to stay at the bottom of the class forever? This time no one said a word. Maybe they were cowed by my energy. While they were still stunned, I quickly pulled a textbook from my bag and commanded. Open to page 62. Look at the formula and the first term of an arithmetic sequence. Work on problem 4 at the end. Then I'll give you variation 2. You need to master each type of variation. I'm not sure I remembered the exact page numbers. Someone raised a hand. Can't we just copy someone else's notes? There are too many formulas, I can't memorize them. Thump. I tossed a book onto his desk. Can you copy during the college entrance exam? First highlight the key points I tell you with a bright colored pen. Then I'll show you a simpler way to solve them. Up until now, I'd only ever helped friends with a few questions during breaks. This was the first time I'd put real effort into organizing a pre-exam review. When I got home, I collapsed on the bed. Mom set a glass of milk on my nightstand and patted my shoulder. Sophia, why are you home so late today? Extra classes? I answered listlessly. Must be exhausting, huh? Classes all day and teachers still making you study afterward. I'm the one giving extra lessons, Mom, I thought, but didn't explain. I sat up, took 2 sips of milk, and lay back down. The next morning when I entered the classroom, Lucas was already there. I realized he always arrived earlier than me. Class hadn't started yet, and 4 or 5 students had gathered around him, notebooks and reference books in hand. Charlotte was there too, explaining a tough physics problem to someone. I stood nearby watching. No wonder Lucas kept taking first place, his foundation was rock solid, and his problem-solving method was systematic. Hard or easy, as long as you followed his steps and persisted, you'd reach the correct answer. But most students these days just wanted shortcuts, easy hacks that were never as effective as Lucas's method. I get it now. After listening to Lucas, Charlotte happily thanked him. She stood up and met my eyes. Oh, Sophia, I heard you organized a review session at school yesterday. When Charlotte said that, Lucas also looked at me, curious. It was awkward facing both the male lead and female lead at once. I gave a slight nod and turned to sit down. Why are you suddenly doing something like that? Charlotte hugged her book to her chest. Her tone was gentle, as if she were genuinely curious, not malicious. Just want everyone to improve together, I replied. Partly true, at least. But as soon as I said that, the people around Lucas burst out laughing. Lucas had one flaw, he disliked slow learners. No matter how many times he explained, if they still didn't get it, he'd simply stop and ignore them. Sophia was one of those. So the students currently queuing for his help weren't necessarily top scorers, but they were at least average or above, the type teachers called good kids, who didn't cause trouble. That group looked at me with mocking eyes. They didn't show it as openly as yesterday's crowd, but their derision was even clearer. I couldn't hold back. I pointed at them and said, "What are you laughing at? You think you're so great? Do you really believe that just because you're top now, people below you can never catch up? Let me tell you, with the way you're studying, it's only a matter of time before someone overtakes you." Called out so bluntly, no one dared make a sound. The atmosphere instantly turned awkward and tense. Lucas handed his workbook back to the others and even spoke up for me. Sophia's right. I'm not explaining anymore, go over it yourselves. I froze for a moment, slowly turned back around and started rummaging through my bag. What on earth was going on? Lucas was siding with me, such a strange feeling. Beforehand I had collected exam papers from previous years, analyzed the teachers' question styles and picked out the key problems. For the last revision session I'd typed up a set of questions on A4 paper, printed them and handed them out. After 3 days the students who had come just to watch the show were no longer noisy, they were quietly following my lead and doing the work. I thought, sure, these weaker students probably couldn't jump straight into the top 10 or top 100, but raising their total scores by a few percent was definitely doable. And most importantly, For once I myself was studying hard 3 full days before a test. This time, I was sure I could leave Lucas far behind. When the monthly exam day came, I felt great. No oversleeping, no stomach aches, no arriving at the classroom only to realize I'd forgotten my pencil. I'd once had a history test ruined because I spent half an hour in the bathroom with cramps, and still ranked first in the whole school. But this was my first full school ranking test as Sophia, so I had to be careful. The first subject was math. As soon as I got the paper, I skimmed from start to finish. Most of the hard questions were exactly the topics I had predicted. One was almost identical to the mock question we'd done in the revision class, just with different numbers. Inside, I was so happy I covered my mouth and giggled for 2 whole minutes. The proctor walked over, staring at me. "What's so funny? Is the test that amusing?" The math test lasted 2 hours. In under an hour I had almost finished. By the time I was writing the last answer, I already knew my score. Even so, I made sure every step was written out, because the process earned marks too. As I was concentrating, the proctor tapped on my desk again. "Sophia from Class A, right?" "Still writing," I replied. "Yes, sir." "Is something wrong?" "Your mother's been in a car accident. Your father says you can leave the test and go straight to the hospital." "My mom had an accident?" I handed him my paper and blurted, "Then I'll submit early." I bolted from the room. Our chauffeur was already waiting at the gate. Since it wasn't yet dismissal time, the lone Rolls-Royce parked outside looked extra conspicuous. The moment I got in, the car sped to the hospital. Dad must have called ahead, because a nurse was waiting at the entrance. As soon as she saw me, she asked, "Are you Mrs. Evelyn's daughter?" I nodded. "Yes, that's me." "All right, follow me." Private VIP room on the 5th floor, security on duty. "Is my mom badly hurt?" I couldn't hold back, asking as we walked. "Don't worry, the doctor's already seen her." "The family shouldn't be too anxious," the nurse said, and the corner of her mouth curled into a strange little smile. That smile instantly reminded me of those tragic TV drama scenes where a doctor delivers grim news: "Everyone has their own fate, we'll do our best. Please stay calm." No way, my hands trembled. That morning Mom had been perfectly healthy, even making me fried dough and 2 boiled eggs for good luck. How could this be happening? I followed the nurse anxiously up to the 5th floor. When the door opened, I was stunned by the size of the room, at least 60 square meters, with a kitchen, bathroom, and even a gym. Then I saw my mother, Mrs. Evelyn. At first I squeezed my eyes shut, afraid of some horrific sight: bandages everywhere, a scarred face. Only when I heard her voice calling did I peek through my fingers. "Sophia, come here and show me how to use this treadmill." Peeking through the gap between my index and middle fingers, I saw my mother perfectly intact, jogging leisurely on the treadmill. No blood, no gore, nothing like what I'd feared. Just then Dad came out of the kitchen carrying a plate of cut watermelon. Seeing me, he quickly set it down, wiped his hands on his apron and said, "You're home early, Sophia. I even called your principal for you. Come sit, have some fruit and relax." If my mother had really been sick, I wouldn't blame her. But Dad, I truly couldn't fathom him. In a low voice I asked, "Dad, Mom's clearly fine. I still had exams today. Why didn't you wait until I'd finished before calling me out?" He laughed loudly. "Sophia, nobody knows you better than I do. You definitely didn't want to take that test, so I made up an excuse to pull you out. Clever, huh?" Hearing that, I felt like I was having a heart attack, seriously tempted to book a cardiology appointment. Mom's health might be fine, but because of this stunt I missed my English test. Without one subject you're not allowed to sit the rest. I decided to sprawl at home, call in sick, and say I was at the hospital caring for Mom. In reality, the 3 of us spent the days binge-watching a string of awful Marvel knockoff movies Dad had bankrolled. After 4 days rest, just before going back to school, Dad even had a friend at the Department of Commerce register an education training company in my name. Since I was still underage, he, Mr. Evelyn, was the legal representative. When I turned 18 it would be transferred to me. He didn't question why I suddenly wanted to start a company. Apparently the old Sophia was impulsive, so launching a business on a whim didn't surprise him. I slung my bag over my shoulder and returned to school. The moment I stepped through the gate I sensed something different. People kept pointing at me. "Isn't that the girl from Class A?" "Yeah, I think her name's Sophia, or Sofifi or something." Got the name wrong. Hearing strangers mangle my name irritated me. I was about to tell them off for gossiping, but maybe my glare was too sharp, because the instant I looked at them, the crowd scattered. Weird. Just before reaching class I ran into Luna and Mia. I called them over and asked, "What day is it today? I've only been gone a few days, why is everyone acting so strange toward me?" Mia looked at me and burst out laughing. "Today's the day the monthly exam results are posted, Sophia. You picked the perfect time to come back." I thought for a moment, it must be because my bet with Lucas had caused such a stir. Of course everyone wanted to see my show on the school ranking board. Inside I groaned, I only sat one subject. Forget first place, I might not even beat my previous ranking. Right then I just wanted to run home. Why had I chosen to return today of all days? But my two loyal friends had no idea about my inner turmoil. One on each side, they grabbed my arms and practically dragged me to the notice board. Two big white sheets were taped to the bulletin board, filled with names. Dozens of students crowded around to see. From a distance Luna shouted, "Let me check my score." "Move over." Anyone who didn't know better would think she was the top student in school. Seeing the three of us approach, the crowd somehow parted to make a path. Luna dragged me forward. She spotted her own score first. "Oh my God. 351. Ah. Is that really me?" Before she could finish squealing, she scanned further up. "Mia. 137. Mia, you're about to break into the top 100. Do you realize that? Damn, this is earth-shattering news. Terrifying. Did you bribe the examiners or something?" The two of them hugged, so thrilled they almost broke into a Latin dance on the spot, completely forgetting who it was that stayed up 3 nights before the test to help them review. I sighed helplessly and started checking the ranking from the bottom. Only then did Luna remember I existed. She quickly pecked me on the cheek and eagerly began searching for my name from the top of the list. Mia nudged her. "Don't forget Sophia still has some makeup exams left, remember?" "Oh, right. Luna's eyesight was sharp. A quick glance downward and she read out loud. "Sophia. 1253. Yikes, still stuck in the same place, your ranking hasn't changed at all." "It's fine," I replied flatly, pulling the two of them away. As I turned, I bumped into someone. "Who is it? Don't you know how to make way?" Annoyed, I rubbed my head and muttered. Looking up, I realized it was Lucas. The air instantly became awkward. "Lucas." Luna greeted him. Maybe her high score had made her too giddy, she was acting weird, ignoring my warning look, and glanced back at the ranking. "Lucas, first place. Hey, you and Sophia are exactly alike, still holding your positions, neither dropping nor climbing." Luna really was too carefree. Lucas ignored her words, his eyes were fixed on my scores. After a moment he spoke. "Sophia, you did well." I gave him a quick look. "English, F," I stammered in surprise, then corrected myself. "Math, probably the highest in the grade, right?" It actually tied with Lucas's math score. Honestly, I could have gotten full marks, but the proctor suddenly showed up and I hadn't finished the last big problem. I lost a few points. Out of more than 1,000 students, only Lucas and I scored above an A. This math exam had been particularly tough. Lucas asked calmly. "You handed in your paper halfway through, didn't you?" "Yeah. Something came up at home." I thought of my mom's ridiculous drama and sighed. I hadn't expected Lucas to know. I'd hoped to keep it quiet, but before I could act the model student, humble and careful, noise erupted outside. Someone was calling my name. "Where's Sophia? I saw her come this way. I've been looking for her forever." Lucas shot me a look that clearly said, "What have you done now?" I was sure I hadn't offended anyone lately. The three of us held hands, staring toward the noise, ready to bolt if things turned bad. First shove Lucas out, then run. What appeared first was a bright red banner held high. On it, someone had written in calligraphy. "Jumped hundreds of ranks, thanks to Ma'am Sophia for her teaching." Across it, more words. "Model teacher Ma'am Sophia, you're like our own parent. Your great kindness is beyond repaying, even the sun and moon aren't as bright as Ma'am's lessons." A buzz-cut boy suddenly rushed up, hugged my leg, and started bawling. You. I had to restrain the urge to kick him off. "Who are you?" Luna pulled a small notebook from her bag, flipped through it, and said, "Student from Class D, Smith. Remember?" He signed up for Sophia's 3-day review session before the monthly test. Smith nodded furiously. "That's right. Thanks to Ma'am Sophia's focused lectures and practice tests. Last time I was ranked in the 900s, this time I jumped to 184. Especially in math, I improved so much the math teacher even called my dad personally." I vaguely remembered him. I tried to pull my leg free. Actually, you already had a good science foundation, just some unclear points. You only needed a little focus." Smith kept nodding like crazy. "Ma'am Sophia. You're amazing. Do you know all the dozens of students who joined your review session improved dramatically? They all want you to keep running it and even want to promote you." I was famous now. The name Sophia suddenly spread all over Royal High School. All 55 students from the review session became walking billboards, promoting me everywhere. The whole school knew of my great achievement. And because my math A was so impressive, even the teachers who used to look down on me had to change their tone. If you're still falling behind, don't worry. With effort there's hope to catch up. Take Sophia from Class A as an example. Ask yourselves why. Look at Sophia next door, why can she make such progress? I've always seen great potential in her. What was scarier was students starting to write about me in their essays on role models. I have an example, my classmate Sophia. She's made huge progress recently. She used to be at the bottom, but by listening carefully in class and practicing diligently, she soared in one subject. This has inspired me a lot. Mia said. Our history teacher bragged about you in the staff room. People want to hear more about Ma'am Sophia's past than about how Hitler lost. I couldn't help shivering. I knew these people well, they could lift me to the skies, or crush me into the ground with a single pen stroke. Luckily my review class was now famous. If the monthly exam was just a small game, the midterms and finals were something far more serious. For seniors, the city's midterms and finals follow unified rules for test papers, grading, and the strict ranking policies of major schools. That means a student's score directly affects the school's reputation, and the school's reputation affects next year's enrollment quality, parental investment, and budget. All of it boils down to money. Every time midterms or finals draw near, the atmosphere at school turns darkest, endless quizzes, piles of homework. No one cares whether students can actually finish that mountain of work. At lunch I called Luna and Mia up to our usual spot, the rooftop cafe. Before I even spoke, Luna pulled out a notebook, eyes shining. Hey! Listen, over 100 students have already come to me and Mia to sign up for your review class. Mia and I put our names down first, but how do you want to charge them? They really were my best friends, straight to the key issue, fees. I wasn't doing charity. With that many people, venue rental costs money, printing handouts costs money, electricity, water, aircon cost money. And what about my brain cells, shouldn't they count as labor? I waved my hand. Let's see, we're classmates, so 20% off. $20 a session. Luna and Mia nodded. Cheap. The rich really are easy to milk. Now that we were charging, I needed a bookkeeper. First, strike Luna off, she's hopeless at math. Mia wasn't great either, she'd have to handle venue searches and logistics, which weren't easy. I thought of Smith, the boy who'd once hugged my leg. When we passed in the hallway later, he'd still rush at me, but I always sidestepped. Even so, I remembered his math grade, A-. Among the top 50, that was solid. Mia said. His dad owns a finance company. He must have a solid science background. I slapped the table. He's the one. Luna and Mia dragged Smith over. As soon as he heard I wanted him as the accountant, he lunged at my legs again. Not just accountant, even if you made me your horse I'd agree. I dodged quickly. Don't say weird stuff. People will think I'm up to something shady with you. And so the four of us became the founders of the review class. The business was registered but still nameless. I didn't care much, it was only a name. Even if they called it Avengers, I wouldn't object. Seeing me silent, Luna raised her hand. Call it Ma'am Sophia's class. Exams coming up. Where's the best place to study? Come to class 12A, Royal High, find Ma'am Sophia. And just like that, Ma'am Sophia's class began a new round of enrollment. Mia and Smith hauled desks to the end of the hall together, one handled registration, the other collected money. Because we set only a 3-day registration window, every recess a line stretched from the sign-up table down the stairs. The teachers knew too, before and after class they'd pass the hallway and see. No one objected, after all, last month's miracle had been thanks to the review class. This time it concerned the school's ranking, so they all tacitly approved. 3 days later, more than 500 students had signed up, and nearly half the rest were couldn't get a seat types. Some came to our classroom offering $50 for a single session. A nearby student immediately bid $80. The scene was brutal. I even considered hiring someone just to hand out numbered tickets, but in the end my conscience stopped me. I was still a businesswoman with limits. All right. Seats are limited, we can't take everyone. I'll compile and print a set of mock exams, $10 a set. Buy those instead. With so many sign-ups, the previous classroom was too small. Mia went to the office to request the big auditorium. She didn't even need the old club activity excuse. The office head signed it right away, joking. Good luck. Whether we beat Adam High this time all depends on you kids. I had already prepared an advanced notes and practice book for Mia to print. But if I had to teach this many classes alone, even healthy I'd collapse. Honestly, I really wanted to rope Lucas in. His problem-solving methods complement mine, and at school he had prestige. He'd attract people better than I could. But every time I saw that frozen face, I couldn't get the words out. In the end we had Luna call her home tutor. He brought in a few more tutors. When they'd gathered, I held a meeting. First I buttered them up, praising their experience, saying I was new and eager to learn their teaching methods. Then I slammed the table and shifted tone, stressing, in the end the four of us were the bosses. The book was my work, my research. They had to follow it, no guessing exam topics. Just teach according to the guide. During English class I sat at the back with Luna and Mia. While the main teacher lectured, I kept my eyes on the book, making sure the teaching quality held. Luna wasn't paying much attention. Bored, she turned and tugged my sleeve. Hey Sophia, check those students in the back row. Don't they look unfamiliar? I stared for a while, mostly because I couldn't remember everyone in our grade. Yeah, weird. They're not in our program, are they? Right. Didn't we sell this only to Royal High students? They look like they're from another school. Hearing us, Mia chimed in. I know one of them, he's from Adam High, my mom's friend's son. This was free riding, I didn't allow that. We dusted ourselves off and headed back. Mia quickly closed the back door. In total we caught 7 students from other schools, 1 net, no sneaky learners escaped. In the novel world there were 30 high schools, 4 of them elite, Adam, Royal, Justice, and X-Men. Among those, Royal and Justice were the most at odds. One embraced freedom, foreign-style education and clubs, the other was strict and force-fed, teaching test-taking tactics and keeping students until 11 p.m. After class I hauled the 7 out to the hallway, asking each which school they belonged to. To my surprise, Adam High, Justice, X-Men, all of them. The non-elite schools had even formed an alliance, sending reps to take our materials back and share. I confiscated all the notes they'd made and tapped the head of the X-Men student. Doesn't your school keep a tight leash? How'd you get out? He muttered. Anyway, everyone's saying your school is mysterious, inviting famous professors from inside and outside the country. It's an information war. Our school leaders want to know what you're doing. We'd figured out that the 7 mystery kids from other schools only showed up for math sessions. We confiscated their notebooks and sent them packing. That's when I learned the rumor mill had gone wild. People could accept a cram class before exams, but some were saying we were experimenting on human bodies, drugs, gene editing, physical therapies that magically rewired your brains so you'd remember everything at a glance. Smith dug up the citywide ranking tables from the last midterms and finals. You could see it clearly. Royal High and X-Men High were the two standouts, their average scores far ahead of Adam and Justice. But lately Royal's performance had been slipping. A few years ago we always beat X-Men, last year they took the top spot twice in a row. I sighed. The pressure was intense. On the final day before the exam, tradition dictated that once we'd finish the mock papers we'd inject compound X into our classmates below. Not literally, of course, but I still went through the motions. Thinking of Royal's glorious history, then seeing us overtaken by X-Men, I wanted to drive home the point. If the exams were run strictly, our total scores could outstrip theirs by anywhere from 2 to 30 points. My mom had been out of the hospital for a while and even gained 5 or 6 kilos. That morning I wolfed down a sandwich and 2 eggs, slung on my bag and bolted, afraid my dad might try to drag me out of the test hall. As I walked I shouted back at him. Unless Bin Laden comes back to life or George W. Bush divorces and remarries and wants me at the wedding, don't call me, okay? Just outside the house, on my way to school, someone called my name, Lucas. These past few days I'd been buried in drills and mock tests, we hadn't spoken in a while. He pointed at my eyes. Your eyes are red. I reflexively rubbed them. Don't rub. He suddenly caught my hand, so naturally. It's bad for your eyes. I froze, not daring to move. He pulled out a little bottle of eye drops from his bag. Just use 1 or 2 drops before the exam. I never expected Lucas to be this gentle with me, something he'd never done with the old me. Soon we were at the exam building. I stopped and smiled. Thanks. I'm here. What room are you in? Room 37, 3rd floor. Ah. I thought to myself, the school assigns exam rooms by ability, the stronger students are usually on the upper floors. Lucas seemed to read my mind. The corner of his mouth lifted. Next time you'll be on the top floors too. Midterms lasted 3 days. Chemistry was the last subject. I handed my paper in 30 minutes early. As soon as I stepped out, I pulled my phone from my bag and saw a string of missed calls, all from Dad. My first reaction, Bin Laden must have resurrected, the Pentagon's in crisis, or George W. Bush is about to divorce and remarry. Sophia, I need to tell you something important, Dad said. I scratched my head. What is it, Dad? He wanted to introduce me to someone. A private car whisked me to an upscale tea house downtown. Honestly, I'd never seen a tea house so fancy, a little bridge over a trickling stream, simple yet elegant. And it wasn't open to just anyone, membership cost tens of thousands a year. Dad had already booked a private room. When I walked in there were 2 people, one sitting, one standing. The middle-aged man with the belly standing up quickly said, "Come in, Oliver Brown's been waiting for you." The one sitting wore a baseball cap and a black mask covering his whole face. That must be Oliver Brown. He lifted the brim just enough to show his eyes. We looked at each other, he said nothing, as if waiting for me to speak. I thought, I don't even know him. If Dad hadn't called, I wouldn't be here. What am I supposed to say? He cleared his throat twice and took off the mask. Only then did I realize his face looked familiar. I rummaged through my memory. A few months ago my rich dad had shoved a stack of photos at me. One looked like this guy. I vaguely recalled it was of a rookie idol just launched by Starlight Entertainment. And now Dad was introducing me to him. I'm Oliver. You may not know me well, but you know Eniswandi, right? He brushed his bangs back naturally, then politely gestured to the seat opposite. I forced a smile. I don't know any Oliver or Nswandi. Maybe I've just been spending too much time cramming. I don't even have time to fangirl anymore. He looked about my age. He said he was also taking college entrance exams this year but had chosen the arts track. He'd already met the specialty standard for the Central Academy of Arts, but math was his big obstacle. Sitting across from him, seeing him in person, even better looking than in the photos, only his voice was funny, like he was always rapping. No need to guess, he was the rapper of Nswandi. Mr. Twos helped me a lot. Which member do you like? I can get you an autograph. Oliver winked at me, brimming with confidence. I hesitated, unsure if I should confess I'd never even heard of Nswandi. Suddenly another thought struck me. Your group's that famous? Of course. What high schooler doesn't know us? Do you know who you're looking at? Killer and Maiden. I nearly spat my tea. The self-love was off the charts. I chuckled softly. How about this, let's make a deal. It'd be a shame if you guys failed math and couldn't get into the Central Academy or NYFA. I'll tutor you and make sure you pass. Oliver's face turned cautious. What do you want? If necessary, your group can be the face of Ma'am Sophia's class, help us recruit nationwide. Back home, my parents asked curiously. So, how was it meeting him? Not bad, not bad. Maybe they'll help me make money someday. Mr. T rubbed his hands, sighing. Perfect. Then Sophia won't have anything to do with that boy Lucas anymore. Dad still thought Lucas had wronged me and wanted me to cut him off. But when Lucas's name came up, I remembered the midterm, how mortified I'd been running into him right after the monthly rankings came out. To win back my pride, I had to pin my hopes on the midterm rankings this time. A few days later in the school cafeteria, I sat down with Luna and Mia again. Slurping noodles, I asked. When do you think the midterm results will be out? I really want to see our cram classes work up there on the bulletin board. Luna and Mia exchanged a glance. You forgot again? Luna said. Midterm and final scores get texted straight to each student. They call it protecting privacy for major exams, but once the scores are out everybody ends up asking and comparing anyway. Oh, that's boring. Mia seemed to catch my mood and smiled. But the citywide school rankings get announced live at the Education Bureau's auditorium, even broadcast on TV. They reserve seats for teachers and top students from key schools. An event like that? No way we're missing it. Thanks to Mia's dad, who works at the bureau, and a lot of pleading, he pulled strings and got us 3 admission passes. On the day of the rankings I got up extra early and headed for the bureau. The place was swarming with reporters, inside and out. Everyone with media access had a guest badge hanging from their necks and wore a faintly smug look, proud to be getting the info before anyone else. Sophia. Over here. Luna shouted. Even in the crowd I found her by her voice. She and Mia were together. Mia grabbed me, handed our 3 passes to the security guard and breezed us inside as if she did it every day. The auditorium held hundreds. The front rows were for bureau officials and school leaders, our seats were toward the back. Almost everyone was already there. On the giant screen a banner read, Press Conference, First Citywide Midterm Rankings, Academic Year. The host began the scripted opening. Rankings were announced from the bottom up, nothing had been revealed yet. With more than 30 schools, ours wouldn't come up for a while. I yawned and nudged Luna. Wake me when it's our turn. Luna looked even more distracted than I was, glancing around. Suddenly she whispered. Don't sleep, I think I see Lucas. Lucas? I jolted. You guys gave him one of our tickets? Mia widened her eyes. I'm not that generous. He's probably here as a student rep, the top student at school number 2 always gets special privileges. My drowsiness vanished. I pulled out my phone and scrolled the news. The midterm high school rankings were trending at the top of the city's social news section, a few TV stations were even releasing real-time results. In the comment sections, parents were already debating which school to choose for their kids next year based on performance. Next we'll announce the results for the 4 key schools, the host called out. The 3 of us looked up at the screen. Wow, the gap between first and second looks big this time. 4th place, Adam High School, seniors average 374. 3rd place, Justice High School, 381. Those two had swapped places back and forth for years, their scores always close. Luna squeezed my hand. Think we can beat X-Men this year? Beating school number 8 isn't enough. My goal's to widen the gap, the farther the better. As expected, the next name up was X-Men High with an average of 403. A murmur rippled through the hall. After all, school number 8 had held the crown for a full year. Some people even claimed X-Men's cram drill methods were the only true path to exam success and that school number 2's freer approach should be scrapped. But in reality, anything over 400 was already impressive. The number I had in my head was about 20 points higher, enough to shock the officials in the front row. I don't think the students she wants to help will be limited to Royal High, someone said, Lucas, his words caught by the live broadcast. Ma'am Sophia's class had gone public. Whether Lucas meant it or not, his comment made it sound like our class had propelled Royal High, 2nd place, a full 50 points ahead of X-Men. In truth, it wasn't far off. Monday, back at school, Luna and Mia found me right away. Luna said her phone battery was dying from constant calls. With the midterms just over, students from all 30 city high schools were phoning to register. Mia added we had to expand now, even our school's big hall wasn't enough. Should we look for another venue? I scratched my head. Those were founder-level issues we'd need a meeting to solve. Right now there was another matter, the text messages with our individual scores had gone out. I was first, Lucas was second, only a few points behind. He came up to me, eyes lowered. Other than you, I couldn't think of anyone else who'd take first this time. I gave an awkward laugh. Haha, just 2 or 3 points. A passing student overheard and stopped. Hey, aren't you two still doing that bet? Everybody's talking about it. Oh God, remembering that bet still makes me cringe. Please, Lucas, don't ask my exact score and let this die quietly. But Lucas nodded. After a moment I asked hesitantly. You still remember what we bet on? Of course. I was ready to admit defeat. I could feel our classmates' eyes on us, hungry for gossip. I coughed twice. Actually, if you want to change the terms. Huh? Lucas frowned. No, I mean. I've got a better idea. Conveniently, that afternoon I'd already planned a founders meeting with Luna and the others. This time I brought Lucas to the rooftop cafe. Smith had been invited too, Mia said she'd called him, and the two of them had gotten friendlier from working together. The 3 of them looked a bit startled seeing Lucas at first. I explained, everyone says Class Sophia only solves problems with dark arts methods. I think with Lucas on board, we can offer both approaches, matching each student to the method that suits them. Since Luna and Mia weren't close to Lucas, I'd expected pushback. Instead they agreed enthusiastically. Luna even pulled me aside. The midterm results are out. What about that old bet between you two? Did Lucas call it off? He's not backing out. More precisely, he actually seems eager to keep his promise. Seeing me stay silent, Luna thought hard for a moment. Remembering how Lucas had suddenly turned up at the extra class this time, she guessed he was using his participation in Ma'am Sophia's class to wriggle out of the original bet, and instantly got mad. She stormed out, slammed the table and pointed at Lucas. I'm telling you, you have to help with Ma'am Sophia's class, and you can't break your bet either. Do you understand? The founders meeting officially began. This time the topic was expanding Ma'am Sophia's class. Because so many media outlets had recently asked for interviews, I decided to unify everyone's opinion first. From now on we wouldn't call it a class anymore, it would be the Ma'am Sophia Education Institute. After a lively session, we reached a few main points. Expand admissions, no longer limited to Royal High, not even limited to our city, nationwide recruitment. Use social media and live streaming for promotion, the media is interested in us right now, we must ride this wave to grow. Set up departments. I take the role of director of Mam Sophia Education Institute, Lucas becomes head of R&D, Luna, head of communications, Mia, head of business, Smith, head of finance. With the initial capital we'd saved and a few angel investors reaching out, funding wasn't a problem. I allocated the startup funds to the 4 departments. Standing tall, heads held high, the 5 of us didn't need to say much. It felt as if a bright future was opening right before us. That evening we all went out for dinner. Luna pulled me aside again. Since she now handled the communications department, she insisted we needed a public face. Otherwise, our company would look like it had no money and no status. She stressed that these days everyone does it. Who doesn't have a brand ambassador? Suddenly I thought of someone. I grabbed my phone, opened a profile photo and sent her a link to an X account. Check this out. Later on I often saw Luna and Oliver using work as an excuse to travel everywhere. Mia and Smith weren't any better. Our team would shoot cheerful vlogs on top while the 2 of them were flirting below. For the senior year classes, most students still came to Second High to study. If we had to travel, Lucas and I would teach via video. Yes, live streaming and online lessons had become our main path. After all, not everyone could come to this city to learn. A few days later we launched our website and app. The number of signups was near its peak. 1 month later we'd hired hundreds of in-person teachers. 3 months later we decided to expand our business scope, not just college entrance prep. We also offered crash courses for primary school entry, fast-track high school entrance exams, study abroad training, civil service exam prep, graduate school exam prep. 5 months later, by regulation, we were already eligible to file for an IPO, but the procedures were too cumbersome, so we decided to wait until after the college entrance exam. First, we had to throw a big celebration party. We held it at one of my father's villas. Mia and Smith arrived together, Luna and Oliver arrived together, leaving Lucas and me as the lone pair. We sat side by side, quietly watching the fireworks. At that moment neither of us could have guessed who the person sitting next to us would become. And I certainly didn't realize I'd found a small new goal. The future always holds countless surprises. After the big exam, Lucas asked which university I planned to choose. Although official results would be out that afternoon, a few top universities had already reached out. The 2 best universities in the country kept calling my house. My dad thought my high scores this year were because of Lucas, so when someone on the other end said, "Hello, this is Harvard University, may we speak to Sophia's family?" his first reaction was that it was a scam call. The Harvard rep asked about my preferences. Woken up in the middle of the night, my dad snapped. "My daughter has dreamed of Stanford University since she was a kid. Your trade school can forget it." 5 minutes later, just as he lay back down, the phone rang again. This time it was Stanford University. Dad assumed the admission scammers were at it again. "Hello, would Sophia consider attending Stanford University? My daughter already belongs to Harvard. Your cheap school still wants to fight over her." The next day at 4 p.m. the official college entrance scores were released. Dozens of newspapers were waiting at the gates of our villa. Dad was stunned. Although a successful businessman who had attended many press conferences, this was the first time he was the focus because of his daughter. The education department's results showed I ranked first in the entire province for the natural sciences track. Mr. Tua's hands trembled as he asked, "How do you feel?" "Normal, Dad. The first time is new, after a while you get used to it." Lucas asked which school I wanted. Thinking of Mr. Tu frantically trying to make peace with the admissions offices of Peking and Tsinghua, I laughed. "I haven't decided yet." "What about you?" "Wherever you decide." I'd heard one university planned to give him a full scholarship and even invite him on stage to speak at the opening ceremony. Lucas repeated again. "Up to you." "What's this? You'll follow me wherever I go?" Actually, we were already in the same city. I didn't understand why he insisted so much. After completing the university enrollment procedures, the academic office contacted me and asked if I wanted to speak together with Lucas at the opening ceremony. Right now the Sophia Institute was very well known, and we were its 2 biggest shareholders. The school believed having us appear together on opening day would create an unprecedented hot event. But I didn't want to do that. At the start of September, around the opening day, Lucas fell ill. He told me to start classes first, carefully reminding me to keep up relationships with classmates and not badmouth him. As soon as I walked through the university gate, several senior sisters warmly greeted the freshman and asked about Lucas. One helped carry my suitcase, another asked, "I heard you also graduated from Royal High, right?" Thinking I'd met a fellow alum, I quickly nodded. "Yes, did you go there too?" "No. But your school had a very famous student this year." I assumed they were about to mention me, so I smiled shyly. But then they asked, "Lucas, do you know him?" "Excuse me, back at Royal High I was more famous than Lucas." The senior just smiled again. "I heard he's really handsome." I snorted. "Too bad his skin's full of pockmarks." The older girl looked stunned. "Then he must be really tall, right?" I rubbed my fingertips together. "I'm actually taller than him by about 2 fingernails." "Really?" My senior seemed at a loss for words. After a brief pause, she went on. "He's the director of a big company, he must be really capable." "You don't know?" "There's a rumor that it's actually a family business." "Married, 1.7 meters tall, half of his face ruined, that's Lucas, the guy who's about to give the opening speech at our school." Within just 3 days, that rumor had spread all over campus. I was sitting in the dorm cracking sunflower seeds when I got a call from Ha. "Sophia, you're at school now, right?" I jumped up from my bed. You didn't say bad things about me, did you?" I hesitated a bit and answered, "Of course not." "That's great. Remember to pick me up at the school gate." Finally, the long-awaited opening day arrived. When Lucas stepped onto the stage in the auditorium, whispers immediately rose from the audience. Most of the voices seemed to belong to girls. I nudged my roommate and said, "If anything goes wrong, you just step back so I can run first." I had to admit Lucas's speech was a success, until a bit of commotion broke out at the end. A freshman raised her hand to ask a question. Lucas nodded for the host to hand her the mic. Her question was pretty direct. "Lucas, do you know about the rumors going around about you these past few days?" Lucas smiled and nodded. "You mean the one about being married, 1.7 meters tall, and pockmarked on one side of my face?" "That's what people are saying." At that moment I, the mastermind, felt a tremor inside. The girl went on. "Those rumors are really too much. Lucas, do you want to find out who's behind them?" "We'll help you." Lucas replied. "Well, it's not completely false." She was surprised. "Really?" "For example, the family-owned company part." He held the mic in one hand and pointed straight at me with the other. "Right, Sophia?" Later I asked myself, why did Lucas do that in front of so many people? He just smiled, his smile was beautiful, and said, "Why did I forget about the bet? Why am I even at the same university as you? Why did I let you spread rumors about me? Sophia, you're so smart, how could you not figure it out? Turns out all my IQ points have been used up solving math problems." Then he said, "You're both beautiful and wealthy. I was just afraid someone would steal you away. I've solved countless exercises and taken countless tests. I once thought my biggest reward was getting high marks on the college entrance exam. But really, that exam was just one tough challenge in life. Whether we succeed or fail, the future still lies ahead."